beautiful day here in Salt Lake City, and as you can see behind me, I have Mini of Murray, and then down the way, I've got BMW of Murray. So these guys are connected, and they're gonna be tracking keys at this store, that store, back across the street, and down the way at a tent shop. So there's always keys and cars floating around. So that's where TrueSpot comes into play. We're gonna help them track their keys, their cars, and a little bit more. So let's show you how we do it. All right, guys, so if you're like BMW of Murray, you probably have maybe your main lot, and then maybe you have a spillover lot or a third-party vendor, particularly their tent shop, or maybe you have the Mini store down the way, or you have spillover lots across the street and down the street, right? So these guys are gonna constantly be searching for keys and cars to try to figure out where they're at. Maybe share an inventory feed, right? To where everybody can see your used cars, but they could live at 3 or 4 different lots, right? So this is where this comes into play. We're gonna set up a network at your main lot and then any other lots that you need set up. So if you wanna set one up at a third-party vendor that you use regularly, maybe for tent, or maybe it's a recon center, right? Maybe you have a spillover lot that you need covered. Maybe it's a parking structure. You wanna know what level the keys and the cars are on, right? Well, let's talk about how we do that. The first piece of technology we use is this. This is a solar-powered gateway. So these just typically will band clamp them to light poles. They don't require power of any kind because they are solar-powered. They hold about a month's worth of charge. So even if they're not getting sunlight all the time, they're gonna work. And these are gonna allow you to see those keys and cars as they float around on the exterior of buildings, right? So outside. Now, interior-wise, so you can see if a car's on the showroom floor or if keys are floating around, whether they're in the key machine, they're in a desk, somebody has them shoved in their pocket, and you want to be able to walk up with the app and find these keys, that's where these come into play. So this is the interior gateway, about the size of half a deck of cards, and this can plug in like a USB or it can plug into a power outlet, so a simple wall plug. So we'll typically tuck these away, keep them nice and hidden. That way they're not in view, they're not an eyesore, and of course that way you don't have to worry about anybody messing with them either. So between these two items, you're now going to be able to track your keys and your cars as they float around the lot. So let's talk about what we're using hardware-wise to track those keys and cars. So when it comes to your keys and your cars, they can end up a lot of different places, whether it be out on the sales floor, in a finance office, in a salesperson's hand, in their desk, or even in a service bay, right? So let's talk about what we're using to track those keys and cars. So for your keys, I want to point out these first. So these are our key tags. Very easy, about the size of my thumbnail, size of a quarter. These we can connect up to your key rings, so whether you're using a keeper machine, a pegboard, maybe using a dealer, a key track system, whatever it may be, we can integrate this in, right? So these are gonna allow you to see those keys as they float around the lot. If it's living in the machine, if it's dropped out on the lot, or if it's in the service bay somewhere. Could have fell in a car, could have fell behind something. There's a million places your keys could end up. Now, when it comes to the cars, we use a little bit different technology. So for cars that are a little bit bigger, so about the size of my thumb, you can throw these around the rear view mirror, or you can throw it around the sun visor. They're nice and bright red so that when you're delivering cars, you'll remember to take them off, right? But if you need something discreet, you can always tuck these up under the sun visor if you need to. Now, while I'm talking about tracking keys and cars, I do want to point out that you can track more than that. Maybe you have jump boxes. Maybe you've got golf carts, golf cart keys. Maybe you've got iPads that you use for finance, or maybe you just take pictures of people when they buy vehicles. Well, you could connect one of these up to it, and then you could track that as well. So you can use this on more than just keys and cars. So a lot of different applications this can apply to. So let's hop on into the app, and I'll show you what it's looked like to run searches, and then of course I'll show you what it looks like to tag a key and tag a car. What's up, guys? So here we are on the app, right? And specifically, I'm using an iPhone for this, but if you use an Android-based phone, no big deal. I happen to have both, and I use both regularly. It'll work on either one, so just be aware of that. Now, as far as who's probably going to be using this app, let's just talk through that real quick before we get kind of working here through. Now, the first people would be probably your sales staff, right? They just need to be able to quickly locate keys and locate cars, right? And then your PDI team, right? Same guys. They need to be able to locate those keys, cars, get them moving through the process. Your detail team also could easily use this, right? Lot porters, if they need to be moving cars around, keeping the lot organized, filling spots and holes, they absolutely can use this. And then, of course, your photo booth guy, right? If you're paying somebody out-house or if you're using somebody in-house, they need to be able to quickly locate keys and cars so they can get those pictures up, especially of all your used inventory, because we'd all agree right now there's not a whole lot of new inventory out there, so used really becomes a focus and emphasis, right? So a lot of different people can use this. And then people like your BDC team, right? If I get a phone call, I can quickly pick up my cell phone while I'm on the call and go, yeah, I can actually see the key in the car here. When can you come by? Right? They're not over at a different lot, or, hey, they're at my spillover lot, but if you want to come by right now, I'll have somebody go get it and we'll get it pulled up. What time can you be here? So know that, there's a lot of different applications and people that can use this. So let's kind of hop on in and I'll show you how this works. So we're going to go to the find a key and find a car button, right? So when I click into this, it's going to pull across all your inventory. So not everything that's tagged, but all of your inventory, because this is connected to your inventory feed. So as you can see on here, you can see that some cars are tagged and some aren't, right? So that very first car, I can see the key and the car icon, letting me know that that car's and that key has been tagged. If the spare was tagged, I'd see 2 keys on there, right? And then the Alfa Romeo below it obviously hasn't been tagged. So it makes it very easy. So as I scroll through here, I can already see what's tagged and what's not. Now, up top, if I wanted to run a search, I could type in a stock number, type in a VIN, and that's typically how most of your guys are going to be searching, right? Somebody might come in and go, oh, I saw this car, it's stock number this, right? Or they'll go, hey, I know the make, model, and year, right? So I could come through here and search that way as well. So just depending. So if I'm already out on the lot and they're asking, do you have any others of these? Well, yeah, I could pull them up immediately from here, come over here, look around and go, okay, well, let me go to the BMWs, let me go to the 228s, and go to 21s, right? And immediately go, okay, yeah, I've got a list of 16 of them here. We can walk around and look at those if you want, right? So I can do this on the fly. So it makes it a lot easier. So for the sake of this, I'm going to come up here and just grab this very first one. Let's pretend that that was the stock number I was searching for. So I jump into the car, right? It immediately is going to show me where the key in the car is located. So first off, it's showing me where the car's at, and I can see in relation to where I'm at, right? So this way, if I'm in the building over there, I can tell. So zooming in and out, I would know, oh, okay, this is, right across the street at the lot, or it's sitting out on the lot, right? So I know how to prepare my customer too. If it's down the street at my tent shop, I go, hey, why don't you guys hang out here? I can see that it's actually down at the tent shop. Let me run over and get that and get it pulled up, right? So I'm setting better expectations. I'm taking better, care of them, customer service-wise, and just giving them a good feel for what's going on, right? They're not just sitting there for 20 minutes going, man, where'd that guy go? And you shouldn't be gone for 20 minutes because you can now see where everything is. So I can see where the car's at. I jump over here. Now I know where the key's at. Not only is it showing me that the key's in the building, but it's telling me up here. You can see it says Keeper West right up here. So it's showing me that that key is actually in the key machine. So immediately I know, okay, the key's in the key machine. Car's right across the street. How quickly can I get this pulled up in comparison to the guy who has to go over the key machine, see if it's checked out, see if it's in someone's name? Oh, okay, let me go hunt that guy down, right? I can pull it up and immediately know if it's in the key machine or if it's floating around the lot. And at that point, then I can search it out, right? Or I could jump back and go, hey, let me just grab a different one, right? A lot of different ways I can work through this. Now, if I was on the key, right, and it wasn't in the key machine, let's say I needed to find it, I'm in that building. Now, I'm not in that building currently, but if I was, I could hit that Find a Tag button up there. So if I hit that, it's going to pull this up. So as I walk around and I get close on that map, now I can play this hot and cold game where you're going to see a white ball appear right where it's kind of spinning right now. And as I get closer, it'll move to the immediate area, letting me know, hey, you're in the immediate vicinity of this key, or as I move away, right? So I can kind of walk around my phone and figure out where it's at, right? So if he gets shoved in a desk, dropped under something, somebody's hoarding 5-6 keys, it's going to walk me right up to him and go, all right, Dave, hand him over, that sort of thing. So know that this will actually take you right up to those keys or right up to that car, right? So you can actually get this down to a pretty granular level. So know that if you have keys that get misplaced or put funky places, you're going to be able to find them. Right, so I'm going to jump back out of this and just kind of go back one more time, and we'll pull up a different car, right? So we'll scroll a couple down here, and we'll grab a different, BMW. Right, so I grab this one, perfect example. Oh, okay, I can see that this one's sitting in a different spot, right? So this one's sitting at the corner of the lot. Right, so I immediately know in relation to the building, which is across the street where you can see that key is at, right? So I can see that the key is right here, and it's letting me know, same thing, keys in the keeper machine, right? So I already know the keys in the key machine. I know that the car is literally right across the street, so I can either walk them right over there, or I can say, hey guys, it's right across the street, let me just grab it and I'll pull it over, right? If there's a lot of traffic or they're older and I'm worried about them getting across the street, right? Taking better care of my customers, I'm being more efficient, I'm not losing keys and cars because I can see where all of them are, right? So I'm just cutting down on all these things, making our process so much better. Right, so that's how that works as far as searching out keys and cars. Now let's talk about tagging keys and cars, right? Chances are it's going to be your lot porters, maybe your inventory manager, who's going to be doing the tagging, right? So for cars, obviously you're going to be using these red tags, and then for keys, you're going to be using these smaller white triangle tags, right? So I just want to show you kind of how to do it. So on the app, you can go to the True Tag Management button. So I'm gonna click on that, right? And then let's, for the sake of this, pretend I was doing this Alfa Romeo. All I'd have to do is type in a stock number VIN, however I want to search out the car that I want to tag. So there's a car button on there and a key button. So you can see that's for my car tag and one's for my key tag. So hit the car button. Now I could type in the numbers on the back of this tag, but you risk that human error of, did I put a 0 where an O should have went, a P, did I flip some numbers or letters, right? Why not make it easy and just hit the QR reader? I can hit that and then literally just hold it under there and run a tag for it, right? And I can connect it up, right? So it makes it just so much easier to do it that way. Now, these are promo tags, so you're not going to see it for me to click on to connect it, right? And obviously, I'm not at this dealership and these aren't assigned to them, but I just want to show you it's that easy. All I do is scan it and connect, right? So that would have been the car tag. Car tag's done. Go to the key tag, same thing. I'm going to go ahead and tag the key, and I'm going to use the QR reader. And then same thing here. I'm going to hit my QR reader, pick it up, boom. There's my key, select it, we're done.
right? So in a matter of, I don't know, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, I can tag a key and I can tag a car, with these two different tags, and now I'll be able to see them whenever they float around the lot. So it's that quick and easy for you to do. And you can do it on the fly, right? You can do it with the app. You could sit at a desktop and do this, you know what I mean, and manually input them, because you won't be able to scan them if you're at a desktop. So I would recommend, using the phone for this, but however you want to do it. Because this way you can do them right when they come off the truck. Whether it's coming from an auction or it's coming, from the manufacturer's plant, I can get them right when they come off the truck. So the minute keys and cars start floating around to PDI, detail, over to mechanics bays to have the car looked at if it's used, right? Wherever they start going to all these places, I can locate the car and I can locate the key. So as sales staff, as PDI guys, as make ready, as detail, as a photo booth guy, all these guys are going to become more efficient, and we're not going to lose out on keys and cars, specifically keys, right? They're not going to get misplaced. They're not going to get lost. We're not going to waste that money recutting them. So a lot of different people that can use this, right? So that's kind of how this works as far as tagging your keys and your cars, just so you have a general understanding of that. Now, the dashboard is going to show a couple basic metrics. You're going to be able to see more on the desktop, which I'll show you here in just a second. But for the first one you'll see is last sightings. So this is kind of a cool feature in the sense that I can look at, hey, in the last 4 to 24 hours, we haven't seen this list of cars. Now, for them, it's only one car right now, but immediately I could pull this up and go, okay, well, did we loan the car out? Are we selling it? Did somebody borrow it? Did somebody take it to lunch? Like, what's going on with the car, right? So I can manage my assets and know if something's been taken or stolen sooner, or just keep, better track of, hey, man, guys, if we're loaning these cars out, I need loaner paperwork, right? A lot of people slack on stuff like this. This helps you start really focusing on that. And the location base is going to show me all the different locations that we've geo-fenced off, which I'll show you here on the dashboard in just a second, and then how many vehicles live in them, right? So if you have cars that are sitting in service, for example, you can go, why do I have cars that are, retail cars sitting in service? All right, well, give me a list of them. Let's figure out what's going on with these. Write down some stock numbers and immediately email it. If you're on the desktop, you can export this, and I can shoot it over service manager. Hey, man, are you done with these cars? Our mechanics made it through these, so I can start retailing them and selling them. Right? You could start using this for a lot of your processes and just move through things quicker. So that's kind of how the dashboard works as far as seeing some metrics. Now, Recon is set up to where if you're using our car tags, right, you can absolutely use these in your Recon process, meaning that when a car comes off a truck, I tag the car, right? From there, it's sitting waiting to go to mechanics bay. Let's say it came from auction, right? It goes to mechanics bay. It automatically checks it in because this has now entered that mechanics bay and we've geo-fenced off that area. So it enters his area. It's now on his clock, right? So it's automatically checked it in. When it leaves his and goes to maybe the next step, maybe it's just a quick lube place, right? So, okay, it goes over to quick lube just to get an oil change, tire rotation, that kind of thing. It automatically checks it into their spot and out of his. So you're eliminating that human error that you would normally run into. And getting down to the nuts and bolts of this, right? So you don't have to worry about, well, my guys are supposed to check them in, but sometimes they don't, and that sort of thing. So it's going to make everything move a lot faster. And you're going to, just increase that efficiency. So you'll be able to see each step as far as how fast the car goes through it, and then the overall process of how fast the car's going through it. And at any given point, you'll be able to track those keys and cars as well, right? So if you get halfway through that process and go, hey, I got somebody who wants to look at this car. Where is it? Is it through the process? Oh, I can pull it up and see. Oh, it's sitting in mechanics bay. So, hey, Dave's probably still working on it. So if you want to, you need to go check on that car before you take a customer back there. It just makes it that much easier, right? So not only can you use this to make your process more efficient, but it's still using those location-based services to where you know how to handle customers and show those cars when they just came in. They just came off a truck. You think it's still up in the air on a lift because someone's working on it, right? So that's true Recon. So let's hop over to the dashboard, right? The desktop dashboard. There's some additional metrics and some things you can do here, opening and closing duties for sales managers in relation to flipping customers and doing different things that are kind of cool that you can't really do on the app. So let's hop over and I'll show you how that works. All right, guys. So here we are on the desktop dashboard. So there's going to be a lot more that you can obviously see here from the get-go, but I want to kind of walk you through it and explain some of the different things you can do and then just show you how you do the same basics, right? So up top here, the first thing I want to point out is on the map. So here you can now really understand what I meant by geo-fencing off certain areas. So for the sake of this, what we do is we geo-fence off areas. So like you can see the Mini dealership, the BMW service area, across the way at the west lot, their pre-owned sections, their detail area, the north lot where the tent store is, and then this, additional spot over here, right? So you can really start to understand that if you have different areas where cars are going to be sitting, this can be really beneficial to you. Now, this part is all customized. We set this up entirely to your store, right? So whatever the layout may be, however we need to set these up, whatever you want to name them, right? This is all going to be custom to you. So I just want you to understand that part first. Now, across the top up here, there's going to be a lot of different things you can see that you don't see on the app. Now, you got a brief description of some of those because we talked about last sightings, which you can actually see right up here, but I want to walk you through these real quick. So up here, I can see my tagged keys, right? So I'm looking at pre-owned first. Now, for pre-owned, I can see that 42 have been tagged out of 101. So I can even look at the 59 that are remaining. By clicking on that, it gives me a list of those vehicles. So this way I can tell, oh, did these just come off a truck? What's going on with them? You know, why are we slacking on this if I'm managing this process, right? So very easy to do. Anytime I click on something, you'll see it's going to add these little gray tags in here, letting you know this is what your search criteria is right now. So I'm going to jump back out of that. Same thing with new inventory keys, right? So this is a brand new store. They're getting connected up. So 28 out of 127. And you got to remember that, of course, some of these might be if your inventory feed is showing cars that haven't arrived yet, right? So there's always that play, too, of what portion of the inventory feed do you want us to grab? You know, how do you want to set this up? Now, pre-owned inventory, same thing. This is now the vehicles themselves. So I can see the cars, 51 out of 100, so the 50 remaining, and then the new 28 out of 127. My guess is that, hey, they just don't have a lot of cars on the lot because chip shortage, everybody's focusing and working through that process at the current moment. So, now, locations over here, this is what I was describing earlier, where it would tell you how many vehicles are in each location. What's cool about this is, you know, I can specifically pick a location, and then if I wanted to, I could turn on the pins and start seeing where a lot of the vehicles are set as well, right? So I can switch between the counts and the pins if I want to. So just kind of nice to know. Now, where that comes into play really is, let's say I'm a sales manager. How am I going to use this tool, right? Maybe I don't use the app quite as much, or I do use it some basics, but how can I use this to a next level? Well, let's talk about opening and closing duties for your managers, right? How nice would it be able to be? So, you know, every given day I want to come over here to my last sightings and I want to look and say, okay, these cars are 72 hours old and none of us have seen them, right? We haven't seen them in 72 hours. Well, I need to check this list every day. Well, I could come in here and have to do this every day, or how nice would it be able to get an email each morning with a list of cars that haven't been seen in, let's say, the last 24 hours, or whatever parameter you want to set, so that you can say, hey, we haven't seen these in the last 10 hours. I need to know what's going on with these. Let me check these. So great opening duty for a manager. Well, you can set that up. You can come into the back office here, go over to your user accounts, select a person. So for the sake of this, I'll go to me. And down here, missing vehicles alert. If I click that tab each morning at 7 a.m., I'm going to get an email with a list of vehicles that we haven't seen, right? So it means the tags have marked a spot where they have left the dealership. They give you a time and date, but I need to figure out what's going on with these now, right? So very cool that you can do that. So great opening duty for your sales management staff, right? Well, let's talk about closing duties, all right? So I'm looking at my entire dealership, you know, and I'm looking over here and I'll go, hey, let me go look on the west lot right here. But what I want to do is I want to flip from vehicles, which it's on right now, over to keys, right? So this way I can start seeing where all my keys are living. Well, once I've done that, I can hit my pins, right? So now I can see where keys are. So if there's keys that are out on a lot, like, you know, hey, what's going on with this key right here? Why is this out there? Did somebody drop it? Somebody out there right now? If it's the end of the night, chances are there's not a lot of people outside floating around with keys, but I could quickly see. So if it did get dropped, click on that specific key. It tells me, hey, I could grab a sales guy. Hey, see the stock number P12650? Hey, put this in your phone, walk out there and find that key. I think somebody dropped it, right? I can start managing these at the end of the night and know immediately, you know, hey, what's floating around? You know, is there anything that's in a place it shouldn't be, right? So before I even leave for the end of the night, I can make sure that keys aren't, you know, somewhere they shouldn't be. Now, some of these are living inside of a building right here, so we're good to go. But you get my point of, hey, you know, is there something funky going on? Is a key getting left over here on the west lot? How do I manage my assets? So at the end of the night, you'll be able to see all of your keys. Let me see where all of them are at. Or, you know, I could flip over to cars and do the same thing. Where are all of my cars at? And then search out specific things, you know? So a lot of cool ways that you can use this tool, right? So I'm going to switch back to the counts. So that's one way you can use it as an opening and closing duty for a sales manager. Now, the other way would be, hey, if I'm sitting here desking a deal, working numbers, and I already know I can't get to the goal of the person they're trying to get, well, how nice would it be to come over here and just go, man, you know what? While I'm waiting for them to come back, let me come over here and find myself a BMW. I know they're on a 228, but let me find a different trim level, right? So I could start going through here and go, okay, I'm on a 228, and then find the correct trim level that I need, right? Search it out, right? So let's say, you know, whatever, I'm just gonna pick something. It was, you know, this specific trim level. I find my car here and go, okay, well, there's my car. Where's the car at? Where's the key at? Okay, so the car's sitting right over here. Okay, I see that car. Keys in the key machine. Perfect. Okay. Hey, when my sales guy comes up, hey, go get this stock number, keys in the key machine, car's on the lot. Go pull it up right now. So that when I walk out to present the numbers, right, as a desking manager, or maybe I present numbers, or maybe I'm handing back to him, I could have my customer sitting there and I could walk out, or I could have my sales guy walk out and go, hey, here's what I can do. I can get to these numbers on this car, or if you really need to be at that budget, if you're okay with going down one trim level, I have a car that I can get you to your budget. And by the way, I have it sitting right outside the front door. Do you want to go take a look at it? We can talk about what you're giving up to get there, right? Now I'm using this to work on my deals, because we can all agree time kills deals. So if I can get these customers pushed through faster, we can sell cars, right? So a good way that a sales manager can use this for opening and closing duties, or for flipping customers to different cars, right? So cool way you can use this, right? But you understand, same way when I'm searching keys and cars on here, I can do the same things, right? So just like you saw in the app, I can see where the car is at, see where the key is at, and it's telling me it's in the keeper system, or it's on the west lot, which we just saw on the map is this lot right over here, right? So very easy to understand as I search through this. Now, as far as some additional things that you'll see up here, I'm just going to jump through these here real quick and just kind of walk you through them. Obviously, locations, we talked about that earlier, knowing how many of what is where. For an inventory manager, some cool things you can use. Days in inventory. This is sales and inventory manager related, right? So let me pull all my searches out here, get rid of these, and go, hey, I just want to see cars that are 90 plus days old. So I click on this, it gives me a list of cars. One, I can export this and go, okay, let's talk about these, right? And then, hey, where are these cars located, right? So if I flip on my pins, I can start going, all right, well, if all of them are over in this west lot where nobody's ever walking, we have to go get these cars. Why don't we move these cars to a little bit more visible area? Let's try to get these off the lot. Let's get them in front of some people and not sitting, behind a building at detail. Let's get them somewhere where they're more visible, right? So inventory management, and this can be a sales-related tool here, as far as, seeing vehicles and days in inventory. Well, let's say I want to run a different search, right? I want to run a search for all my, 2021, and the same thing, we're going to do a BMW, or actually, let's do a Mini this time, right? So we're going to do just a Mini, and then model-wise, the Cooper, right? So I want to run a search for that and just see, like, hey, where are they at? How many do I have? To try to understand, where they all located at, right? Because what I want to know is, hey, if I need these to all be stacked up next to each other, what do I need to do to make that happen? So that's where I can come in here and start looking at these and see, okay, I've got all these cars, they're sitting in a specific area. How do I manage them and get them bundled together so that when I'm walking the lot, they're all next to each other, right? So very cool way to use this tool. So just a different way to approach this that you can use it, okay? So that's kind of one of the other things that you could do from this standpoint. All right, so inventory managers can use this to keep the lot nice and tight, be able to run searches. So that same idea, let's say I'm doing a BMW 228i, and we got some special incentive running on them. Well, how nice is it to pull them up, see where they're all at, and go, hey, get all these cars, move them over to the front line. I want everybody who walks in the front door to see these. We'll put a hang tag in them. I know that we can make extra gross on them. Let's get them out in front of people, right? So this is a lot management tool. It's not just locating keys and cars, right? So we talked about last sightings earlier, as far as, being able to pull up a list and go, okay, I've got 3 cars that haven't been seen in the last 72 hours. Let's quickly figure out if these have been loaned out, if they're being sold, if somebody's borrowing them, and then where are they? Where's the key at? Where's the car at? Is it where it's supposed to be? Has it been moved somewhere funky? What's going on with it, right? Because you can come in here, and just a reminder, guys, over here, I got these details and activities. I can assign notes, right? So I could put in a note and go, so-and-so's borrowing it from this date to this date. It's going over to the shop. Expected date to be there this date to this date, right? So that we'll already know. Or if it's somebody's demo that leaves the lot and comes and goes, and I'm trying to show that car, well, I know it's a demo ahead of time. Oh, this is Jake's demo. Okay. Well, it may not be on the lot, right? So I can work through this process faster when I'm dealing with customer base. So that's just some different things you can do as far as last sightings. We talked about last sightings in cars, last sightings for keys, days in inventory, managing your assets, opening and closing duties. So a lot of additional things that you can do using this tool, whether it be the dashboard or the desktop, just depending on what your title is, what your role is, and how you're going to actively need to use it, right? So very easy to understand.
All right, guys, so hopefully that gives you a strong understanding of how TrueSpot works, right? From the beginning of, hey, we got to set up a network, to 2, let's tag your keys and cars, to 3, let's start tracking your keys and cars using the app and using the desktop. There's a million different people at your dealership who can, of course, use this tool, whether it's your sales team, whether it's your PDI guys, whether it's your detail team, your make-ready guys, whether it's your service tech guys, your quick loop guys, right? Your photo booth guy, your BDC team, your sales managers, or your inventory manager, right? A lot of different folks can use this at your dealership. So it's not just about tracking keys and cars and eliminating just those, those recutting keys costs. There's a lot to this. We can improve efficiency in a lot of different areas, but of course, yes, we can also cut down on those lost key costs, right? Every single dealership I visit, every install I'm at, we pull a pile of keys out of that key machine of keys that have been, hey, what happened? We sold the car, we didn't know we had the key, we recut it, and the key was in the machine, right? It happens. They get put back in afterwards. People have them in desks, they get shoved different places, right? It's just a lot of wasted money and wasted time searching for them, recutting them, right? And it affects your customer too when you have to sell them a car and then you got to recut a key for them and they got to come back for it, right? It's just not a great experience, right? So we're improving customer
customer experience. We're improving, cutting down on those lost key costs. We're improving all that efficiency, right? All that wasted time searching for keys, searching for cars, right? You can better set up your customer base to help them out. Right, so if you'd like to get more information on the lot management tool, maybe you want to talk about True Recon, how that applies additionally, or OBD2 devices, right? If you want to track, some courtesy vehicles on and off the campus, I'd be more than happy to help you out. At the end of the screen, I'll throw up some contact info for TrueSpot itself. You could always reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to help you out. In the meantime, look forward to hearing from you. Talk to you soon. Later, guys!